Hey friend, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and this is Create Your Own Cozy. On today's video, I am working through some of my stash, some of the Christmas items that I had thrifted and meant to get to upcycle and hadn't quite gotten to yet. I'm getting those projects done today, and I am using some of the new IOD release from this Christmas and some from last Christmas so I can use the beauties that I already have. So if you want to see what I come up with, stick around. Project number one this week is a DIY from the past. I unpacked my Christmas decorations. I had gotten these little trees as raw wood back in the day. See, look at all the color I used to use, guys. But this doesn't really fit my style anymore. So no problem. I am just going to do a nice coat of white Swan to cover up all that color, and then after that dries I am going to do a second coat, not too thick, not too thin, because I am using the Lattice Rose paint inlays. When I got these paint inlays a couple releases ago, this particular one reminded me of a Christmas look, so I am spraying the backside with a water mister and putting the paint side of the paint inlay down on the wet paint, and then I'm just going to rub it in to make sure all that my DIY paint melds with the paint on the paint inlay. Then I'm going to do the same with the other two. Not particularly worried about like the pattern being centered or anything. I just want it to sit well. And then after that completely dries, I go back over it with a water mister. And then once I know that it is fully wet and it's not going to pull at all, I am going to carefully pull away this top sheet. If it sticks too much, just spray it with water and pull it after it has been reawakened. And look at the beauty, guys. I just love how this turned out. This just reminded me of a Christmas look, so I've saved these sheets for a project such as this. These little molds I got, I think, last year on Amazon. I will include a link in the description. I had already poured these last year and I'm trying to use up even my poured molds. So I'm going over them with the new Eden color from DIY Paint, and then I clear coat over the paint inlay, and then I get out my handy dandy Prairie Grey. You know, this is one of my staple neutrals that I am going to kind of warm this up just a little bit and not have it be so bright white. Next, I'm just going to use the edge of the Prairie Grey paintbrush and kind of make it look a little bit distressed and show the outline of each of these Christmas trees. They're all so unique and they stood out a lot better when I did this outline. If anything ever happened and I didn't like it, I could just wipe it back because it has already been sealed with a clear coat, so that was nice, and I'm really happy with how this added to this project. I still felt like it was a little too white, so I just took that same brush without adding any more paint to it and kind of dry brushed the sides and the back to add some dimension and some depth. Again, I didn't want this to be crisp white, and I thought this was a good add-on. I did seal everything with liquid patina, then glued on my little molds painted in Eden and some antique gold rub and buff and some velvet ribbon that I got from Amazon. Last year I got these tree slice wood ornaments from Amazon, and guys, I had already pre-painted these. These are painted with white Swan and faded burlap. And then when I first got my Santa sleigh mold, I did the same thing. I poured a bunch of these little gifts and I hadn't used them yet. I painted them in faded burlap and used some antique gold rub and buff. Now I'm using my ephemeral type stamp. This is basically for a little black and white background. You could use anything. You could use kindest regards. You can use a Christmas tree. Like, you can use any of the stamps that you have just for a cute little background. Next, I'm going to sand this background with 220 grit sandpaper. I didn't want it to look freshly stamped, and since this is DIY paint, I went ahead and sealed it with liquid patina, glued the little molds on with some Type-On Quick and Thick, and made sure I painted the backs as well and have a cute little neutral ornament. If you guys are new here, welcome to Create Your Own Cozy. I would love it if you hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and let me know you are here. I have no idea where I got this. I'm going to assume it was like a Dollar Tree grab, and I am going to just decoupage some of this music paper right over the top. There were some raised spaces where there's glitter, so I just kind of sanded that just a bit to make sure it didn't come through the paper. So this jumped out of my hands right before I went to the beach, and I scraped up as much as I could, but I wanted to explain why my paint can is looking so pathetic in this video. So I'm using up my white paint and covering the letters and the colors just in case it possibly shows through the music paper, which is not likely. But I wanted the top and the back to be black, and then I went over the whole thing with liquid patina underneath, and then over the top. After it dried completely, I cut a little slit right here so I could fold it and sand the edges. Next, I used a straight edge for the top so it was a nice clean line, and then did the same technique with the black paint to kind of highlight the edges and make sure it was a cohesive project. At first I was thinking about using this wreath transfer from the Yuletide transfer. I really love the look of it and thought it could be really cute just like that. But then I got out my Oh Christmas Tree mold from last year, and I really wanted to kind of flank the top parts and add some green. I just love how the Eden has been looking. So that's what I decided to do, and then after I got the molds on, then the wreath transfer didn't quite fit the right way. So I had to switch gears, and I found this transfer from, was it last year's Christmas transfers, or maybe even the year before? I don't know, but I'm using up my transfers, guys. Buying some transfers and make them the star. Also, don't forget you can cut your transfers up to fit your project. These little things went in a straight line and I just moved them around. Next, I decided there needed to be a really tiny bow up in the center, and I got this bow from Amazon. I will find some, I think, like it and link that below. This is really meant for cakes, so it is definitely subpar as far as use and quality when you compare it to IOD, but it is a small little mold nonetheless. For this project, I was originally just going to put a transfer on this. It's not antique, it's just a thrifted Better Homes and Gardens creamer. And then I decided to go a different route. I got out the snowflake mold that was in last year's release. Now, if you wanted, you could use this year's snowflake stamp if you didn't get the mold from last year, and stamp an impression of a snowflake, or do the same technique with a different mold as well. So I am just casting my mold with IOD clay and gluing it on with Titebond Quick and Thick, and then after it is completely dry, I am going to attempt some more spray paint. As you can see, I made a mess yet again. It was 20 degrees outside, guys, and I'm trying to do this on the back porch, and every time I open the back door, Henry needs to be on the porch with me, and I try to get it done as fast as I can, and I go too much too fast. I know that's my problem. So I'm just sanding my messes and then spray painting over the top of them, and quite honestly, guys, I was able to salvage these spots, but I could have saved myself a lot of time if I would just do light coats, mini light coats, instead of trying to get it all done quickly and not be freezing cold. Anyone else do this? So I added a bottle brush tray that was wonky on the bottom and could sit a little bit lower in the cup, and thought, what a great way to salvage something that I thought was a mess all the way around, from my spray paint job to a possible tossable bottle brush tray. Isn't restoration fun? My last project today is going to be a thrifted book where the spine was removed with a straight edge and music sheet just torn around the edges and decoupaged on the top. This is a current, I believe this is from the Yuletide transfer book, this release, and I'm trying to use the grid lines on here to make sure it is up and down, and just get that in the spot that I want it, use the tool that comes with it, and get it on top of the book. All I'm going to do is add some twine, a little mini ornament I got from the mini ornament section at Hobby Lobby, and some greenery, and look at this fun upcycle. So what did you guys think of today's projects? I know I had fun getting some items done. I just got back from spending a week in North Myrtle Beach with my family for Thanksgiving. Guys, I do not like school alarms, so I am dragging a little bit this week, getting back into the swing of things. But this weekend, I'm heading back out of town. I'm very excited. My nephew from Texas, Luke, he's 15 years old. Him and his mom are flying to Pinehurst, North Carolina for a golf camp where she just needs to drop him off for the weekend and kind of wait for him to fly out. And I'm going to meet my sister-in-law up there, and we are hanging out. Just the two of us. No husbands, no children, no Aunt Heather, Aunt Hope. Just the two of us. I am so looking forward to it. Honestly, we're gonna put on some PJs. We're probably gonna get some good food while the sun is up because it's supposed to be really cold. So we're gonna go out during the sunny part of the weekend and hang out in our B&B with some blankets and just uninterrupted conversation. Really looking forward to that. I know that as December has started, I am already feeling that, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. So the fact that we booked this about 6 months ago, part of me was like, what was I thinking booking this in December? And then the other part of me is like, I'm so glad I did because I feel like it's going to be restful. You know what I mean? So if you guys are new here, thank you for joining along. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I am, I think, less than 500 people away from hitting 20,000 subscribers, which is kind of fun. That was my goal. I started this year with 10,000 subscribers and my goal was to get to 20,000. Some people encouraged me to do a stretch goal of 25,000, but I am excited to be really close to my original goal of 20,000. So if you're not subscribed, I would love it if you hit subscribe. Hit your notification bells to all so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And let me know in the comments what your favorite project was today. Don't forget, you can get all the paint and products that I used in today's video on my website at www.createyourowncozy.com. I'd like to thank you guys so much for supporting my small business, and I hope you have an amazing week. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check me out over at createyourowncozy.com.